Hello, good morning. So, they say today's the first day of the rest of my life. And for my Facebook friends, people that come under that title at least, you may have seen a post, if you haven't stopped following me because of all the fucking depressing videos, where I stated it's time to get up and be of service. And life is telling me to do that. So I listen. There's no beef. It's just the next step. And this morning, I just tuned into myself, and it's like I felt my body very heavy. I'm still fighting with my health, and the depression is easily still felt. I'm going to move into the kitchen, so it's going to get a bit darker. The depression is easily still felt, and I thought it would be a good, wise idea to make a live stream in this moment, to just snap myself out of that place as much as possible. And just discuss that topic a little bit more with the way it happened again. So, quite simply, I read life. That's how I decide what to do in life. And life said, now is the time to take action. It's just been too painful, too stressful, too everything. And the way it happened was flicking through Facebook. You won't believe the amount of time I spent flicking through Facebook, and the way I've put precautions into place so that when I do flick through Facebook, I don't really get anything from it. So I'm there for hours just going like this with the scrolling action. Never really getting anything from it, and it's intentionally designed for that. I've used the settings to accommodate my health, and in honesty, all I really want is that action of sitting down in front of technology, because I like technology, and allowing myself time. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving myself time with something that I would ordinarily enjoy. Not Facebook. I don't really. I have beef with Facebook, but the process is enjoyable. You're checking, you're tuning in, you're connecting with people on a different level. And it's where my videos go, so it's a big part of my life, and it's enjoyable in that sense. So it's almost like that scrolling action is like, what do they call it? Neuro-linguistic programming that helps the mind, the body, the soul just chill the fuck out. So I was doing that yesterday, and I was scrolling for ages, and there's never anything. I don't care. The way I've used the settings, it's like when I do finally find something of worth, it's a rare treat. Rather than scrolling and like seeing all your friends, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's to numb my mind. So it's there's very little stimulation, and it's actually a boring process, but it's intended like that for my own personal circumstance and healing. But every so often something does pop up, something does make its way through, and I am able to still take some level of whatever from that post. And yesterday was one of those, and it was from a friend from Brighton, and he posted a video, and he's got experience in filmmaking. He's a healer as well, and I sort of fell out with him the last time we spoke because of my mental health, and I'll just leave it at that, and because of the collective psychosis. But he made a post, and he's still a friend from once upon a time, and I'm not gonna just be like totally off with him, like, oh, we don't get along anymore, I'm not gonna read what you say or look at your post. I'm not like that. But so I looked at the post, and what it was a video, and he said something about, he referenced his ability to do filmmaking, he's referenced his ability from a spiritual perspective, and he referenced his own perspective in between all of that. And I don't know why I clicked on it. I don't always click on videos. As I said, it's mostly to numb my mind. But I clicked on it. And what it was just like a nothing video, which was probably the perfect thing for my mind. What I seek from Facebook. And it was just very beautiful. It was very cinematic. And it just put me in a place. It just put me in a place that I haven't really been for a while. And it just almost centered me to the present moment. And the thing that really struck me was the music. It was just beautiful music. Very like almost light, classical, modern. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a music person. I just know what I like. So it moved me, and very, very quickly I realised where I was at. And that was, it's a case of, with all the information life has been bombarding me with for quite a while now. Pardon my voice as I begin to find my centre and make use of these live streams. It will regulate more in a minute. Very, very quickly I realised where I was in terms of life. And I sort of, when my life gets hard and I break as a person, I take an assessment of my life. I take a minute, I sit there and I read life. And I see what life is saying to me, what the messages of all the positives and negatives towards me are basically asking. And from all of that, being honest to myself as an individual and what it means to be a good human being and everything I've ever learned, good and bad, I make an honest assessment to say, right, Andreas, this is what life is saying. Is there any way I can direct that message to something a little bit more pleasant? Sometimes I can steer that request from life in a direction I'm happier to take. So in other words, if life is asking me to leave my home, all right, I'm going to leave my home, but how? I guess that's my free will in life's request. And sometimes life doesn't really leave me much room to make many decisions. It just tells me, this is the way, go and do it. And in that way, it's easier. Again, there's not anything for me to think about. I just surrender to what's likely to be a hard undertaking, and don't think about it and just do it. But yesterday what happened was there was no real thinking process. I knew it, because what it is life. Life hasn't been making sense for a while. It's just been getting harder and harder and harder. And I'm still in the same place. There's no real changes that have been made for quite a while, but it has been getting harder and harder. And it stumped me as to why I'm not finding life telling me messages anymore. Why isn't it saying do this, do that, do the other? Why is it just getting harder and harder? But it has been what it's been. Pardon me. It's been what it's been, and it's been fucking hard, ridiculously hard. And I've not been able to take those messages, as I said. But all the while, I'm thinking, you know, what is life saying? What is life saying? So I still listen very, I don't know what you'd call it, intensely to life, with a lot of detail, intensity. Sorry, I was looking for a tissue, I don't have one. It's in another room again, and I'm making a live stream. So, I've not been acknowledging, though, each time I make that assessment of what's life asking of me, and I've not found a way forward. I've been seeing, you know, little things that I normally take direction from. So it's like every time I break as a person, which has been really frequently of late, I restructure my life by listening to life and go forward. Each time I do that, I do restructure, because I'm like, In my mind, I'm trying, it's like a Rubik's Cube. I'm trying it this way, I'm trying it that way, I'm trying it the other way. And nothing seems to quite work to go forward, to make any real changes. But in that moment, as I said, within my mind, I'm restructuring my life every which way. And I guess unconsciously, I'm charging up my subconscious, because I'm saying, right, well, my life is this way, my life is that way, my life is the other way. And I still come back to the same life, but I've just opened up a new paradigm for my subconscious. And I think that's what it was. It's like countless times where it's been like that and there's not been a way forward. I allowed for yesterday, because when I don't like to make quick decisions. It's not something I'm fond of. But in the moment yesterday, when I listened to that music, it just put me in that place of centre somehow. Something remotely connected to an aspect of myself I've forgotten, or has been long in my past. And all the thinking that has gone on with all this time, what's going on, the questions I'm asking, how can I make this better, what shall I do? It was like in the instant, I just stopped. And it just made sense. And I realised I can make a decision in an instant. And I said, fuck it. Time to go. Time for action. That's what life has asked for me. So an utter, intense pressure that I've never ever could have imagined experiencing before. That is my life now. Utter depression. Pain. Despair. Confusion. Tiredness beyond anything I could have imagined again. I made the decision to restructure my life according to life's wishes, what would look like on a whim. And I did it in the moment, and I knew that was the right decision. Where I normally spend like a day sometimes thinking about it and then forecasting forward and plotting out paths and stuff, that part wasn't there yesterday. So I'm left with that to decide how best to go forward. Now, I've got a lot of clearing up at the boat to do still from the flood. And it's mucky work, man. It's not pleasant. All my herbs, well, not all of them. I'm surprised how satisfactory it's been so far. I'm not looking forward to the next 2-3 hatches of storage. But I'm working my way through it. I'm trying to save as much as possible. And that's why I'm asking what foot forward first, because what it is, I think, is just clocked for me. I'm being given a choice now, really. Well, it's not even a choice. For me, it's the same thing. I'm in the same place. But whatever bastards are doing this to me, they want to psychoanalyze me on some fucking level. They want to get something from how I make a decision. So what they've done, they've put in where I normally do, when whenever I break, it's normally a natural process because it's with energy, it's with motion, it's with life, it's with sanity. And what's gone on here is just the longest process of insanity, a lack of motion, and everything else I stated earlier. But all the while, I've got input data being added in, input data being added in, input data being added in each time I break. And I've been breaking more and more. So what's happened is I've made the decision because I know it's the right decision. But now I've made the decision, I've got all of this input data to choose. Because it's my life. I have free will from this perspective. Even though that's a lie according to spirituality. But I'm not going to argue from my perspective, it looks like free will. That's how I take it. I still have a decision to make either way. And I've got all of that input data to choose from. So what comes first, and I'll need to just leave the camera for a second so I can go and get the drill. Just need to put up a shelf very quickly. Back in a second. No, it's not where I thought it was, and I'm not sure it's here either. So it will have to be a job later in the day. In which case, yep. So I've got all of that input data to choose from. My instinct is my health. My health is terrible, and my health needs to be addressed. I look a state, don't I? And where that's important, as I said I think I said it in a live stream the other day, it's a case of what's given me the energy to live, to shrug off problems and ailments of the past and live with like all the energy in the world was essentially to, and this is helping actually, apply the mindset that the world is ill, the world needs healing, the world's a problem, man. Don't get caught up in language. The world's a problem. There's famine, there's wars, there's capitalism, there's pandemics. Do you know about any pandemics recently? And the world's a problem. I'm ill because the world's a problem. If the world was fine, I'm sure all of those healing capabilities that are natural to us as human beings would be all over the shop, and I'd be fine as a human being. I'd have been healed a long time ago. But it's not the case. And the world's a problem. Therefore, on some level, I don't know if you want to try to rack your brains around it, but I'm not free until the whole world is free. You're not free until the whole world is free. You're not free until I'm free. And so on and so on. And life, from my perspective of my mental health, my understanding of spirituality, especially coming from the books of Don Juan, from the teachings of my uncle, is that this is a process to find our own personal freedom. What that means. And like I said, it doesn't really exist. The way I dealt with it before was living my life to try to make the world a better place, and I'm conscious my battery's about to go. So I'm going to switch the phone over to the other side in a minute and put it on charge. Fingers crossed, I can't be bothered. But it doesn't die before I put it on charge. So the way I dealt with that in the past was living my life to heal the world. In some abstract way, I always had a route in my mind to get me from where I was to doing something that could change the world. Even if it was like seeing something vague in the distance that was a possibility, or even 10 vague possibilities, and then finding like, what do they call them? In numbers, when you have, not prime, is it prime numbers? Lowest common denominator, that's it. So you find the lowest common denominator of all the possibilities to give yourself as much freedom, personal freedom, in that route of life. Not putting stress on yourself, not putting pressure on yourself. Sometimes there is only one option that you can see, but you want to give yourself as many possibilities with everything that you are and you've been to doing the most good in the world you can do. And that's how I've lived my life. In the past few years, that route has become none. And that route has been these videos, if I'm honest. It's like a Lastcast, desperation, hope that somehow doing something insane to a certain extent and seeing a possibility, a vague possibility of how it could bear any good in this world. And just rest in that, but it's not the same. It's not the same, it's not quite it. I've been doing it now for 2 years. And as it is, it's not where it's at, is it? Where's the change? So, my initial idea was to do something in that direction again. One, because to do anything, we need our bodies. And my body just doesn't effing work at the moment. I can't walk, I can't sleep, I can't this, I can't that. Oh, let's see, am I going to lose you? Is it going to go on charge? It's plugged in. Maybe it's the CIA wanting the video to end. Sorry for offending you again, CIA. Please allow my phone to charge. It's plugged in. It should be charging. It was charging 2 minutes ago. Well, it's an impromptu goodbye, and I'll have to have a think about it by myself. Unless the CIA let it charge. We'll see. They have disabled charging capabilities. We end with a conspiracy. But I'm not able to press end because I'm going to keep twiggling this and hope that I'm twiggling somebody's brain at the CIA who's fucking with my life to say, what the fuck are you doing? And hopefully it'll start charging. So I'm not going to say goodbye if it gets cut off. Second charger doesn't seem to work.